it's been a pain to keep it on.
What's up, Love Giants? Welcome back to another episode of the Giant Love Chronicles. We got a great show for you, so hang tight. Hey, Love Giants, welcome back. Nick Smith and Andy Bangeter here for another episode, and we've got an incredible guest for you. We don't have any housekeeping, otherwise we'd dive into that.
Got housekeeping in my house.
Housekeeping in the house, that's it. But we'll dive into introducing our amazing guest today. We're joined, let me see if I can get this to work here, by Susie and Otto Collins. And let's see here. I'm going to start this. Got a little bit of a delay there, guys. I don't know if you're hearing that. And
we are hearing that.
So we'll do our best here. So Susie and Otto Collins are married soulmates and relationship and life coaches who've been on a mission to help people open to more love and create amazing relationships in every part of life. Since 1999, through the example of their own love relationship, their outreaches around the world, and their one-on-one coaching work, they've been writing, teaching, and sharing practical, easy ways to find and keep love, passion, and connection strong and alive through the year. Otto is the author of the book Preaching to Monkeys, Hope, Healing, and Understanding for Fathers, Sons, and the People Who Love Them. They are the authors of over a dozen books and audio programs, including No More Jealousy, Magic Relationship Words, Should You Stay or Should You Go, Relationship, Trust, and Turnaround, and more. The latest book, Big Fat Love, The Book of Possibilities, was established in July 2023. It's available on Amazon. And you can learn more about Susie and Otto Collins and sign up for their free ebook and video, 5 communication mistakes at susieandotto.com. Communication mistakes a little tough to compete with at susieandotto.com. You guys have a speaker close by to your computer? We'll hold tight.
You guys have a speaker close by to your computer?
We do.
Yeah, we got a speaker close by. It's going to reverb through.
We do have a speaker close by. It's going to reverb through.
It's really delayed.
Yeah.
Now that is too weird.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you hear us okay now?
Are we like 5-second delay?
There is like a 5-second delay.
How interesting. And I can hear it still going.
Alexa, check the music.
Well, we'll do our best, right? There's a 5-second delay. That's amazing.
We'll do our best, right?
We will.
We'll do our best.
That's amazing.
Hey, I don't know how to handle that. We'll just handle it. Well, I'll wait for your response after 5 seconds.
I don't know how to handle that.
I do not know either.
I'm going to leave the studio and come back in. Hold tight. Okay.
Yeah.
I do not know either.
I'm going to leave the studio and come back in. Hold tight. Okay.
Yeah.
I do not know either. I'm going to leave the studio and come back in. Hold tight.
Yeah, it's repeating. Oh my.
Can you hear me now? Is there a delay there?
No.
No delay at all?
Can you hear me now?
There's a boom.
Delay there?
No.
Delay at all? Can you hear me now?
Oh, guys, we may have to redo the show here.
delay.
Yeah.
Let me have you bump out of the studio and come back in.
Let me have you bump out of the.
Yeah. Hey guys, so we'll figure it out. Sometimes there are technical delays because it's going to be the most amazing show ever. So hang tight. Any comments that you want us to tackle? Go ahead and throw those in. We see a couple of viewers here. Who's joining us? Where are you at in the world? If you would share that in the comments, that would be awesome. And then we'll see if we can fix this. And if not, we'll reschedule and do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just
Dang
means we
it.
get the night
I really
off.
like these two. I'm excited.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be I know. I'm curious
I
their story.
know.
Let's see if they're coming back, guys. Hang tight. Hi, Lori. How's that?
I think this is going to be better.
Oh, hey.
What
Hey.
happened?
I don't know, but you guys sound amazing.
Miracles are taking place.
It's usually like the best shows are like their technical issues, but I don't know. That's interesting. Yeah, Lori says it sounds good all the way up in Canada. So you guys are doing good.
Nice.
Excellent.
There's still a little bit of a delay there. Are you guys catching that?
Not as much.
No.
No? Okay.
No.
Okay.
Well, let's dive in. You know, let's kind of look at your journey going back to, was it 1999 that you met?
No, we met in 1997.
Can you talk to us about that? How did you meet? Go into that a little bit.
Yeah. I was married to somebody else for 15 years, and that marriage I made the decision to leave that marriage. I had an 8-year-old son, and Susie was married to somebody else for 30 years, and her marriage had ended that same year as well. And, we were just kind of acquaintances. We didn't know, we knew each other, but, we weren't close friends. There was no attraction. In fact, what was it?
We met at a spiritual study group that our chiropractor had, and Otto was a presenter because every month there was a different presenter. He was talking about weight loss, and he was loud, and that was my first impression.
You're like, this guy's obnoxious.
So me being who I am, I asked him after we'd both been out of our marriages, not very long, but we'd both been out of our marriages. I said, do you want to come and we'll trade energy work? Because
we were trained in Reiki and all kinds
polarity
of
therapy,
holistic energy kind of healing kind of things.
It was a thing.
Yeah.
So
It was something.
Yeah, he came to my house, and I thought, he's 16 years younger than me, and this is a nice guy, and blah blah. It wasn't any, and we hugged after we finished. I said, can we hug after we each finished with the energy work? And we couldn't quit. We couldn't quit.
It was literally,
hugging.
You've heard of the soulmate experience. It literally was like that, where we had this feeling, and we didn't want to let go. At the time I was working at a job. I was selling advertising, and she was a director of a library at a university. And, it wound up, it was 2:00 in the morning, and we realized, hey, we got to go to work here in like a few hours, like not very many hours. And so
Crazy. That gave me goosebumps all down my body when you said that. That's awesome.
Well, and when he left, it was like he shouldn't be going. He should stay right here with me. And I thought, no, this is crazy.
yeah.
You're like, I need some sleep.
Yeah. This guy is young, and he's 35 or something like that. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And yet it wasn't.
Huh.
Wow.
It was home.
There was a feeling of being home, and that feeling has never gone away. This is year 26 for us.
Holy cow.
That's amazing.
Do you
That's
want to
so
share
beautiful.
Yeah.
your experience? Yeah, our experience a little
Yeah,
bit.
I'll let you.
Yeah.
I'll let you.
Yeah.
I didn't,
You
child,
fill in the
son.
gaps, did you?
Okay.
All right. So we're going to pull up here just for a second, but we had a similar deal. Is we met in April for the first time in person, and there was some attraction there, but it didn't seem like it was really. I don't know. She was cute, but I wasn't looking. And
Yeah.
she thought I was nice, but she wasn't looking either.
Wasn't either.
She we go to a birthday party, for a friend's birthday party, And she invites me to go to a concert with her. And I'm like, yeah, I'll go.
And I don't even know why I asked. I mean, I just felt prompted to just ask you. And
Yeah.
I did. And I'm really glad I did.
Because I wouldn't have
He
asked.
wouldn't have. And you know, then I asked him again to the next concert and we had fun with each other. And then he asked me to go hiking. And
When we went to the first concert, though,
Yeah.
You hugged on.
I
my
did.
back, right?
I hugged
and there
on.
was,
It was
there was
just-
something that
yeah.
felt familiar. Or...
Yeah, it just felt very, I don't know. It's really weird because we've just been acquaintances. And for me to like towards the end, like I wrapped myself around him and just started massaging his back and he felt just comfortable, very comfortable. And I don't know why I did it or anything. It just felt very very comfortable.
It felt like
mean,
home.
it
you
did
know?
feel like home.
Being around her, like you say, it feels
Very-
like home. And we still have that. And sometimes it feels like home, and we just sit at the desk and work across from each other. don't say much, but it still feels like it's
very
it's
comfortable,
natural.
yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Yeah.
So tell us about that soul connection. What is that? Does that happen for a lot of people, or is that pretty rare?
You know, we this is a question that we've spent a lot of time talking about. That in our mind, there's no doubt that we're what people might refer to as soulmates, and you know, we've wondered, okay, is this whole soulmate thing, is that possible for everyone? And our answer is we don't know. We don't know if that's possible. But what we do know is that everybody can have the love that they want. It may not show up in the way that they think, but I do know that there is such a thing as soulmates. And it's going to show up differently for everybody.
Yeah.
Well, and what we learned was that, hey, this soulmate thing was wonderful. You know, it was absolutely glorious. I never thought I would have anything like that. But if we hadn't learned what we learned about doing it differently than our other marriages, we wouldn't be together. I mean,
Yeah.
I really know that if we hadn't learned about communicating differently and being kinder to one another and not being so critical and it's okay to be different. If we hadn't learned those things,
It wouldn't have mattered. I mean,
No.
we would have had the hug and everything, but to be able to get in alignment with each other and get along, that would have been another story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's still a chance, like if you have that soul connection, that without the development, right, that it could still just come apart.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I totally think that somebody could actually meet somebody that was their true soulmate, and they could totally miss it if they weren't willing to look at their own, their own internal stuff, their own, why do they look at the world the way they do? What's possible for them? How do other people occur to them? How do they see themselves? There's all kinds of things. I mean, I could talk for hours about all those kind of things, but there was somebody I was having a conversation with the other day, and he was talking about sales, and he was talking about attracting customers and so forth. And he said something that I think also applies to relationships, and especially this idea of soulmates, is you have to be ready and you have to be willing. And you could meet the person that was your true soulmate, but if you're not open and you're not willing to be in a place where you're willing to invite somebody in, it's just going to go right past you.
So was it like you guys met, your soulmates, and life was easy? Like you didn't have to work hard, you never had disagreements, you never saw anything differently. Like it's easy, right?
You read each other's minds.
Yeah. Amen. Yeah.
Well, there's all kinds of life challenges to navigate. One of the first challenges we had to navigate was our own thinking about the age difference between us.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean, I thought I was, how can I be really appealing to him when I'm 80 years old? Well, I'm close to 80
Well,
now. And
Susie, you look magnificent. You do not look like there's this huge age gap between you two. You both look just spry, young and spry.
well,
I love
and
it.
thank you. And a lot of that is that we keep just juicing our lives and juicing each other with our love and showing up as love.
yeah.
Well,
And
when the marriage is rough, you do age fast.
yeah,
But then if you're in a good relationship, you don't age as fast. It's not that stressful, as
Yeah.
stressful.
And it doesn't mean that there haven't been challenges. There's been, my son was 8 at the time that I left his mother. And, so there were all those challenges of me going through an ugly divorce. And when I say ugly, it was ugly. And all kinds of challenges around, being a parent, who's not in the same home, having someone else enter the picture of in a relationship between a father and a son, and navigating all of those kind of things. My son lived with us when he was in college. That was challenging. There's been financial challenges of different kinds. So, but if the love is there,
and the commitment
yeah,
and the willingness
yeah,
to not get all bent out of shape about things, but just really just show up as love. How can I show up as love? And if I feel a reaction, it's like I don't have to go there.
yeah.
I don't have to. So it's I think it's a moment by moment decision, choice. And I love your book. At the end, you say choice.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and choice. So it is. It's every moment.
Constant though. It's not like you're one and done. It's not like you guys fell in love and it was exciting and then that carried you for the rest of your life. And that seems to be, at least in our culture, and maybe this is every culture, is like you're taught to hit these milestones, right? Hit these milestones and you'll be okay. And people aren't.
And then everyone lives happily ever after,
Yeah, right. We got the wedding.
Got the wedding, got the kids.
Oh yeah. And
The
that's one of
house.
the things that
And
we
everything's great.
I disagree with about, like a lot of people. It's the whole thing of the idea of lasting love. People think that the measurement stick for a great relationship is, does it last forever? Whatever forever means. And then they totally forget how to love each other in between this moment and forever.
Well,
Because sometimes hell is forever.
Yeah, right. You're with the
People
person 5
say
minutes and it feels like forever, right?
Yeah. Doesn't mean it's great.
Yeah.
Enduring.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So time becomes relative, right?
Yeah.
So the idea of hitting these milestones, I did a post today on exploration versus dating, and we're still in that phase. We're not married. We've been dating about 6 months. We've been together about 4 months, roughly, like together.
Yeah, together when we called it official.
And that's the word we used. And but it's for the first few months there, it was, just really, and maybe this is a message you can speak to here. It was really exploration. Are we even a fit for each other? Do we like each other? Are we aligned in things? Who am I in relation to her? Who is she in relation to me? Even still, there's some navigating around that, and there probably will be forever. But the first few months, it was really just like, is this where we want to be?
Yeah.
Can you speak to that a little bit? Is that important versus dating versus exploring?
Well, I think even at year 26, we're still exploring each other, but that's a constant choice because we're always changing, we're evolving and we're growing. But I think that in any relationship where it's really going to work, there has to be what we call the glue that holds the two of you together. And for some couples, it may be the love of family, or family may just be it. For us, it was spiritual growth and the intention to always continue to be looking at spiritual growth and have that as the glue that is that between us. 'Cause we're always studying something and
How to learn to love more deeply.
yeah.
Love each other, love people. And I think you're exactly right. It is an exploration, but it doesn't end after a few months. It's the curiosity. Oh, Otto, what did you think about this? Or, just really listening to what he has to say. And he listens to me. And we keep exploring. And I think that's what keeps our love alive in part.
Yeah.
I like that. To find the special sauce, the glue.
What is our glue?
I just started thinking about that.
Because we have differing views a little bit.
Yeah.
Different spiritual views. So
We'll have to explore that.
yeah, I don't know.
Thank you. We're gonna go find our glue.
That's a show, guys. Thank you. We're off to find the glue.
Just liking each other can really be glue.
Yeah.
I just like who you are. That can be glue too.
Well, and that is something, like when I think about what I like about Andy, it's she's totally different from me energetically. She is outgoing. She loves to be around people. I love to not be around people. And so, it's like that gets me out of my shell a little bit.
I'm extra strength glue.
Extra strength glue. But she also gives me room, like when I need my downtime and my alone time, she gives me room for that. And I appreciate that, because it gives me time to reset and calibrate so I can keep up with her.
We're flexi glue.
Yeah, flexi glue.
I love that because that differences, we learn so much from each other.
Yeah.
And if we accept those differences, and if we love the other person and say, yeah, I realize that you need your quiet time. So, I'm not going to chit chatter here for a while. I'll let you, whatever it is. It's so respectful to see what can I learn from you, from the way you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where most people kind of get tripped up is, you get together in a relationship, you're new in your relationship and things are just going so well. And then for whatever reason, it's like a switch gets flipped. And then all those things that you kind of think are cute and interesting and funny and adorable, you suddenly start wanting to change the other person. And it's like, no.
But those were the things that brought you together in the first place, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one thing that we've really seen is that instead of trying to change the other because they're so different, we look at it like she's really different from me. I'm really different from her. And there comes a question in my mind all the time. She's so different from me. So instead of trying to make her wrong, it's like, what can I learn from her?
I like that.
Because when I start to think about what can I learn from her, she sees the world so differently than me. I mean, there's a lot of overlap, but there are a lot of things that she sees differently. I want to know what those are.
And we didn't arrive at this immediately. Okay. I mean, this has been years in the creating.
Yeah.
How we are with one another. And when we're at our best, we are at our best, like everybody else. But I think that if you do look at differences in this way, then it's so much easier. There's so much love available.
Yeah.
That you you don't have to, put your dukes up and
One of the things I'm thinking about is one of the biggest challenges we had was around finances, and I used to get really triggered about the word budget.
and I was a library director and handled budgets, and it was like, what? This is no big deal here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, when you look at it, like that it's no big deal and all like that. I looked at a budget as this is restricting, this is refining, this is like confining.
Because he was in sales.
Because I was in sales.
Yeah.
And, I didn't like all that. And so I wanted to think about possibilities instead of being restricted. And so we stopped using the word.
Really? So you just eliminated it.
We use different words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. The idea, like sometimes we'll talk about past experiences. You shared one this morning, about past relationship. Yeah. And people get really controlling. Like in that relationship, it was really controlling. You can do this, you can't do that. Stop doing this. You can only wear this or move like this in your life. And one thing that I'll say to Andy is, and it might be a little weird, but you're an adult. We're two adults coming together. Like the last thing we wanted to do was marry a parent. And so it's also a reminder for me, like Andy's an adult. I'm an adult. We're pretty dang capable of doing some things. We're not young. And just reminding of that independence that we have, that, that autonomy that we have, to try and not strip that away from another person, right? Just because we've got insecurities or whatever's going on. Can you talk about that a little bit? Like why does that come up? Why do people try to control other people and make them do what they want to do, and they call that a relationship?
Because they don't think they're going to be okay if the other person doesn't act the way they think they should. They get frightened, and I have to control you so that my life is okay and I can get what I think I want.
So it's a fear thing.
Sure,
totally fear-based.
Yeah.
That, anytime you start to try to control anyone, there's some fear underneath that's driving that makes you think that if this does happen or if this doesn't happen, whatever the thing is, whether it's something you want or something you don't want, that I'm not going to be okay. Mm-hmm. Totally not seeing that in almost every case, the very thing you're doing is shutting down love. It's building walls and defenses and things like that.
Very counterproductive.
Yeah. And so much of the time we miss that you can do this thing. It's called talking with each other.
Oh, what?
I mean,
4-letter word. Talk. Just kidding.
It's kind of an amazing thing. Mm-hmm. It's kind of new, but some people are catching on to this.
That's crazy.
It's like we say sometimes, help me to understand. Like maybe Otto's piled up something, in the basement, or like, okay.
You'll actually use the words. You'll actually say, tell me what your plan is.
Yeah, what's your plan? And not making him wrong, but I just want to understand.
Like, what are you thinking? Not as a judgment, but like, walk me through your process, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
What are your plans here? Are you building something?
Instead of saying, what are you doing with all this piles of stuff? Or
even that, like the reaction becomes very fear-based, right? Like it's very, it takes you back into that space of like, why are you doing this? You shouldn't be doing this. It goes back to that control thing, right? It's very reactionary.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. And same thing with, with things, with me, with her, there are things that happen like that. We've had a 26-year exploration into how I can learn to recycle. Recycling. People do this all the time. And so on our refrigerator, we've now got this chart that the city has provided us. It's been great. And so now if there's something that is possibly recycling, I'll take the item and try to match it up with these pictures on the fridge, because I have it's like a disability. I have a recycling disability. And Susie doesn't have that problem, but she's really helping me with this.
Yeah. It's like the square peg in the round hole thing. It's you got to hold it up to the picture to make sure it aligns.
I know, right?
I love it.
The point is that she doesn't make me wrong. It's a work in progress.
Yeah, I didn't demand that he learn recycling or whatever.
Yeah,
but I'm learning it now.
That's good.
That's awesome.
I mean, Andy's patient that way with me too. She doesn't make me wrong. If there's something we'll talk about it, talk it through. And
he's patient with me.
Yeah.
It's more of a joke. Okay, so we save a lot of things growing up, and so I'll save the Ziploc bag. I'll rinse it out and save it unless there's meat in it.
I think she died.
It.
She died during the Depression. And was
I'm with you, Andy.
This is her second life around the Depression.
And I'll hold on to food. And okay, this came up today. I thought he was more funny because I can't remember what it was, some food item. And he's like, how old is it? And I can't remember how old it was. But today he was like, I was ready to throw something. And he's like, no, don't. And I'm like, what? And then I realized he may hold on to things long, but I'll hold on to things longer.
That's true. And the longer for me is like, that's beyond expiration. Like
things crawling.
Yeah. And loving each other through all that.
Yeah.
Laughing.
Yeah, we have fun with it.
Do you think we all have like neuroticisms? Like we have these preferences maybe that were really just strong preferences. Like I like things a certain way. And you don't realize it. When I'm living on my own, I'm not sitting there like, hey, you need to clean up your dishes, because nobody to tell me to do that. Or I don't look in the mirror and say, hey, you're chewing too loud, or I don't like the way you're wearing that outfit. You're going to wear that out today.
He loves all the lights on. I'm like, turn the lights off.
Yeah.
Everything.
You get into a relationship and you start to see all your neuroticisms, your preferences come up, right? How do you navigate that? Like when you have different things you prefer, and they're gonna clash, right? How do you navigate that?
Yeah, you love each other through it. You talk, like Otto said, you talk. You say, oh, I see that you leave the lights on, and I like to turn them off. Can we come to some kind of let's talk about if we want to do that, if we want to, how we want to navigate this.
Yeah.
Motion sensor is the solution.
Motion sensors. That's a good idea.
That's good. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Well,
see, I'm not so abnormal, honey.
No.
Like for now, Susie and I are on the same page and Facebook user.
Yeah, I like the room lit up like a stadium.
And I go around. So it's expecting all this and not getting bent out of shape.
Well, right now we live separately, and so we have separate houses, and she'll come over and I have my way of living and she has her way of living, and it, while we're exploring it, it works, but there's probably going to be a point where we're like, okay, what should we do from here? And we'll have to learn to, live together and again, an exploration and loving each other through the exploration, because we're not all going to see the world the same way.
I love you, and then I flip the light.
Yeah, she will.
Yeah, and one of the simple things we've learned to do.
This is my solution to it.
Cover her eyes over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
love these comments.
That's
Yeah,
a
these are
hard
good.
one.
They're
That
so
no, what's funny
normal.
is my mom and dad are like that, where my dad, he'll wear 5 coats in the house. I'm
Yeah.
not too far. I'm kind of close up to him. And
Today,
oh, what's
yeah.
funny, I'm just like right before the show, I'm like, oh, I guess I better hurry and get dressed. Pull off the sweatshirt, pull off the sweats, and here I
You'd
am
never
dressed.
know this was underneath it all. Like she's got layers.
I got
of layers.
layers. I'm an onion.
She's got a full on like modeling outfit on underneath. I'm like, where did that come from, Superman? Yeah.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
If you also have kids,
Yeah.
for your kids to see you successfully compromise.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's big, right? Teaching them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, and we're both divorced, and Andy's kids are older, and my kids are still young. You know, they're still around, and so, you know, the demonstration of healing too, right? After a divorce or going through something like that is there for them, so that they can see, you know, whether their relationship succeeds or fails, they can navigate through, and maybe demonstrating that, you know. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
And demonstrating love.
Mm.
You know, we both decided that, well, my daughter was grown, you know, but his son, that him leaving his first wife definitely, and getting with me and showing his son a new way of being loved and loving somebody was so important. Such a gift.
Mm.
Huge gift. He's setting an example for his son.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The goal is to have healthy kids that aren't out there having unhealthy relationships, you know, and just passing on the buck. It's like, I mean, we've got to do our healing too. And I think that's the thing, is like if people are coming into a relationship saying they're healed, there might be an issue. Unless you disagree with that. I think we're all kind of healing constantly.
Always.
There was something I heard this, you know, there's a famous motivational speaker that I heard 40 years ago. He's passed now. A guy's pretty famous, a guy named Zig Ziglar said something one time that just made a whole lot of sense to me. He said, you know, kids will do what you tell them until they're about 2 or 3 years old, and then they'll do what you show them. And then what that means to me is that if you're showing them that you can work through challenges and still love each other, if you find ways to talk about things that, you know, are not name calling and not mean and not belittling, and you can still have differences and still love each other, if you can demonstrate that, it creates incredible possibilities for your children.
Yeah, I with my last marriage, it was hard because there was a lot of disrespect with the kids, and I mean, it was really profound when everything was said. Well, it was after I filed and everything, and my ex's son calls my daughter up and said, so what do you think? You know, they're getting divorced, and my daughter's like, yeah, it kind of sucks. And he's like, I'm not surprised my dad treated your mom like crap. You know, and that really just like, oh, you know it's happening. I mean, there's a reason why you're filing, but I would tell him, like, why do you think the kids are this way? Like, starts at the top. You're modeling this for them. They don't have respect for me, you know. So it was a tough one for me. It was tough.
Yeah, it can be tough. Yeah, for sure.
We have a friend, you know, in this we're going to circle back a little bit, if that's okay. Going all the way back to dating, you know, in our world, there are a lot of single people who are, you know, just exploring, even trying to find a relationship to be in. You know, when they get in it, they'll navigate where we're talking about right now. But the challenge of even dating, right? Some people want to rush through it. They want to find that right person. They'll take the first person that tells them yes or gives them any attention. They're disappointed when somebody says no after, you know, 1 or 2 dates, and then they feel like they're not worthy anymore. They're not good enough, or what's wrong with me? And so can we go back to dating a little bit, you know, before you even get into the relationship? Is how would you recommend people navigate that dating phase where they're really trying to find, they're sifting through to find that right person. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Be honest. I mean, I think a lot of people, I mean, I'll say women, but it's not just women, try to be who they think this other person wants them to be.
Mm.
And that never works. And first, before you even start dating, know who you are, know what you want, know what kind of partner you'd like to be with.
What's important to you?
Yeah.
Just the simple idea of knowing what's important to you. A lot of people blow past that.
Mm.
Yeah.
Of really stopping to think about what would be important to me. And, you know, something really simple about dating that I think people miss also is to get clear about your reason for wanting to date. And because some people kind of miss that what their idea of success would be. There are some people that want to date just so they can date around, just so they can have fun. Some people want to date so that they can have somebody to do things with. Some people want to date with the intention of I'm looking to find a life partner and get married. And so often, you know, there's all these different reasons why somebody might be dating, but people don't think about what's my reason for wanting to date.
It's almost like almost comical. Like, let's throw all these people into a bowl and see how this goes.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's a mess, right? To be sifting around and you let's say that you're the one that wants to find a relationship, but you're in a pool of people that just want to have a friend to hang out with, or like that could be really challenging. I would feel frustrating.
Well, if you to just get clear within yourself first of this is why I want to date. Most people don't even do that. That's so huge.
Like, what's your intention going into it?
Yeah.
Well, and again, being honest and not being afraid to ask, you know, what, you know, are we here just having fun, or are we, what's going on here? Because when I'm coaching women, especially, they're so afraid to ask what's going on. Where are you in this relationship? What, you know, what do you want? Here's what I want. What do you want? And really listening and not making it into something that trying to mold it into something that you think would work. But
Yeah.
really,
So
yeah, go ahead.
That word manipulation, right? It comes from like putting it in your hand and molding it.
Yeah.
And so manipulation is like, it's not just a natural fit. It's like you've got to manipulate it and mold it into what you have in mind. And, you know, when we were first,
it burns out real quick.
It does. It burns. Well, you burn out quick because you can only put on the show for so long.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I remember when we were dating initially, it was a lot of like, I'm good with however this goes, right?
Yeah.
Really
I mean, neither one
disconnected.
of us were, I mean, we were pretty disconnected. We really enjoyed each other's company. Neither of us wanted to be in a relationship. We didn't feel like we needed to be in a relationship. We just enjoyed each other's company.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was very organic, very organic. We're so open about it all.
Yeah.
And I loved our communication. It was just off the charts, and it's always off the charts. It's like amazing.
Yeah, we quit a few weeks ago, you know, communicating. Thought that would be healthy.
You know, that maybe that's our glue.
Yeah.
You know,
threw the glue out the window. Right?
Yeah.
But I think it was nice because neither one of us were, I have to get married. This is my intent. And I've got to be this woman that he wants me to be. And I'm going to put on this facade.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like, this is it. This is what you get. I always make people, you see me ugly, you see me pretty, you see me whatever. I don't care.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, walk away.
But I was also the same. Like I
he was
didn't
the
need it to
same.
go a certain way either. And so that opened us up to really open up, to really just be
Yeah, we're just relaxed about
transparent.
it.
And
Yeah.
How healthy that is. That's beautiful.
Yeah, I remember even saying, I don't want kids. Because I was being honest. I don't want kids, but he has kids. That could have made him go, okay. But at the same time, he's like, cool, whatever. I don't want you. But
well, when we went on
now
our
I've
first,
fallen in love with him. I fall in love with his kids. So,
But-
it's different.
and that's been something to navigate too.
Yeah.
Even on our first day, we went hiking, first official
Yeah.
togetherness thing,
Mhm.
date, we'll call it. She goes, I don't want a boyfriend. I said, well, that's good, because I don't either. And then we ended up
I
kissing.
said, I don't want a boyfriend, but I want to kiss you.
Yeah. So I was like, great. I don't want a boyfriend either. So this is perfect. So, but there's a relaxedness that goes into that dating, and there's so much pressure that we put on ourselves. I got to find that right person. This has to be the one. We want to impress them, and that can only be kept up for so long. And then we're so disappointed and attached to the outcome that we're devastated by what they decide not to do, and then we identify with that. I mean, that's very hard. That just seems really hard, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we had something very similar when we were first together. Otto had another woman, that he had started to date, and before me, before our soulmate thing, and it was like, Otto, whatever you decide here, is okay.
Yeah.
But decide.
Yeah.
Well, that's fair, right?
That is
that's
fair.
Yeah. It was.
Can't be on the fence.
Are you in or you out? And if you're out, it's cool.
Yeah.
Just let me know, right?
Yeah.
Guys, we've already gone 47 minutes.
Well,
Can you believe this? Like,
are you guys okay if we go just a little over? Because we kind of had a rough start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious about, what's your favorite book that you've written?
Oh,
Well, the favorite book that we've written, it's our latest one.
The latest.
really?
The big fat book he's holding? That's awesome. What was your inspiration on that? Love? But yeah.
Well, the title "Big Fat Love." There's actually a chapter in the book called that where this
Big Fat Love,
where it got started. But the whole idea came from, and the title came from, we were in the early stages of we had been together maybe, I don't know, a year, and I got Susie this card, and on it's like a greeting card or a love card, and on the front of the card it was this cartoon character, like the man and the woman, they were cartoon characters, and on the front of the card it said, their love was big and fat. and you open the card up and it says, because they fed it a lot between meals.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cute.
Yeah.
So
So that was the inspiration for the book, and every
Really?
chapter is about feeding
I love that.
love.
yeah, how do you feed first of all your own thinking, your own way of seeing love, your own way of seeing life? How do you feed the relationship so that it grows instead of becomes stale? How can you feed just
Loving yourself.
loving yourself? Yeah.
So when somebody goes from dating and they find that one that's ready to do that adventure with them, right?
Yeah.
It can't stop there. It can't just be like, well, now you're in love, right? This quote unquote in loveness, and you were infatuated, you were in that honeymoon phase, and that's going to carry you for the rest of your life. It's like, you got to feed this. You got to work at it every day. You're going to have days where you're better at working at it than others. But it's a constant effort to feed it in between meals, right? Like I like that.
I love that.
That's cool.
Now you can stop feeding me. Just kidding.
I always bring her snacks. Like she's trying to get all of it fit and skinny. I'm like, I brought cookies. Right.
Relationships are a creation. They really are a creation.
Yeah.
And,
congratulations.
Yay!
Yeah,
congratulations to you.
I
Yeah.
love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
And so that is the fact that your relationship is always a creation. It's
Yeah.
how are you creating each other? How are you creating the relationship? A couple of years ago, I started referring to Susie as the incredible Susie.
Mm.
So I started creating her in that way. And then when I start to talk about her internally within me as the incredible Susie, there's something that gets triggered within me to look for the best. And then when I start talking about her in public or in a group or with other people, well, now other people are calling her the incredible Susie because I've
You
created
get her a cape. Da-da-da-da.
Yeah, we need a big
Big
eye.
ass on the back.
Okay,
Yeah.
I heard something today that I think is interesting. Because what you're talking about is a blending of two things, right? There's one of the creation of the outer world, but it starts with the creation of your inner world first.
Correct.
And if you think about superheroes, there are superheroes who put on a cape and those who reveal their superhero outfit by taking off the outer. And so it's in one case, you're putting it on, and the other, it's in there already. You're just exposing it. And so it's like in the relationship, when you're creating the relationship, it really comes back to the individual creating themselves first to create that relationship. So you both have to do your work individually for that to work. Is that accurate?
Always.
Yeah.
Because one of you doing this, I'm creating the relationship, and the other's like, I don't care. Can it work?
Well, one person in the relationship who wants to learn more, and you probably, come into that, seen that too. And then the other person says, well, I like things the way they are. And what we always say is, you be love, and you can show more love here for yourself, for the other person, and things will change.
And for that person, the one that has more of a desire for something more, something better, they can be an invitation to something greater, and to really see that.
Yeah,
I love that.
And how long have you been together?
This is year 26.
26 years. That's amazing. That's
That
amazing.
is
We're on
awesome.
we're on different ends of that spectrum. We're about 6 months in. You guys are 26 years in, but the same principles apply here as they do where you're at.
Yes.
Because the whole
No
thing,
changes.
Yeah.
it starts with the question of, what do I want? What do I want? And what do I want for this relationship? Yeah.
And what choice am I going to make in this moment?
To be able to create that.
To be kind.
Yeah.
Or and to be kind to myself too. It's not just being kind to Otto, but it's being kind to me too. Yeah.
What about that question right there?
What is the best piece of advice you would give to your younger relationship? I'm assuming they mean when we were first together. That is a good question.
Yeah, that is. Don't take it so seriously. It's like my thinking.
And don't sweat the small stuff.
Yeah, my thinking, and be kinder, more loving. I've grown a lot in 26 years, and Otto has been a wonderful teacher for me. Absolutely marvelous. Teaching me how to love myself more, love him more, love anybody more. So yeah, just be lighter about the whole thing. That would be what I would say.
Well, you're both coming in with your past experiences. You both have, he's going through a tough divorce and he's got his son. He's in the thick of raising him. And, your kids have flown the coop, and you both have your different experiences. And to come in just stiff as boards is not going to work. Like, my way's a highway, and that's not going to work. And you have to be willing to have fun and learn and be flexible. Flexi
Yeah.
glue.
Flexi glue.
Yeah, love
Spray
that.
foam.
Yeah.
Spray foam.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it won't work any other way.
Are you guys good for a bit more? Are we good to keep going?
Sure.
Yeah. Because this is awesome. I mean, it's very, everybody looks for like the secrets. Like, how do you have a good relationship? But it's more than just knowledge, right? Because you can know a thing and not do the thing. And there's plenty of knowledge out there. There's plenty of books, plenty of information online. You can find everything, right? But it's putting it into practice. And a lot of times the putting it into practice depends on who's putting it into practice, like who's showing up to put it into practice, which goes back to who are you creating yourself to be in relation to this relationship, right? Who's showing up to do the doing? What would you share with somebody, like if they're struggling creating themselves, or they're going through a hard time and it's creating insecurities in them, and those are showing up and that's what's doing the doing, right? What would you share with somebody that's in a position like that?
Well, that the first thing I would share with somebody like that is, if you're in a relationship with somebody, one of the biggest things is you got to see that they're not the enemy. That when you show up and you love yourself and you love that other person, and when you really see that there's nothing ever to fear, and that changes everything. When you see that, when you really see that love and an abundance of love is who we are, it's our nature, it's how we come from the factory, I believe. You don't have to tell a little tiny child, how to be open, how to be vulnerable, how to be loving, and so forth, because that gets conditioned out of them. When it's not there, it gets conditioned out. It doesn't be, love doesn't show up later. And so that's what happens, is that when you just simply show up and you love yourself and you're open to loving that other person, and you start to really see that there's never anything ever to fear. Even if the relationship doesn't work, it doesn't last, that you are still whole and complete no matter what. That's a game changer when you see that you're already, from the factory, as I like to jokingly call it, you're already whole and complete.
Well, and loving yourself starts with what are you telling yourself about yourself? What's going on in your thoughts, your thinking? You don't have to believe any of that.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's where it starts with me. What am I telling myself here? That I can't do this, or that I'm not worth it, or I'm not what? No.
It's that self-sabotaging that starts to jump in. Yeah.
Where can they get your?
Is it Amazon?
Amazon?
It's on Amazon, right? Your book?
Amazon is our friend.
Yes. Amazon.
Amazon's my friend too.
That's funny. We have the same friends. This is a small world.
They visit more than.
If you're ever lonely, Amazon.
Amazon.
There, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, as you project forward or predict forward into your relationship, do you guys have a vision? Do you create visions for your relationship? Do you imagine forward, or do you just kind of take it one day at a time and navigate that? Or, is there a common vision that you hold? Does that make sense?
Well, the interesting part about your question that I find really interesting is, when we were new in our relationship, one of the things that our age difference really taught us was that there's no such thing as a future. and that this moment is all you've ever got.
Mm.
And so if you take care of this moment, 26 years from now will take care of itself in time.
Mm.
And when you really show up and you love that person and you love yourself as deeply and completely as you can, without trying to change them, without trying to make them wrong, without trying to make them into something that you want to make them into, and you just show up with total love, you've taken care of the present moment of that moment, and then the next moment, and the next one. And then one day you wake up and you're in year 26 and you're going, this is even more amazing than I could have imagined. And that's where I think the magic is loving someone in this moment.
Well, that's interesting. Go there goes your vision board.
Yeah. Bye vision boards. Yeah.
I mean, that's fine if you want to do that. That's great.
Well, no, that's great. That was very down-putting.
We have things like, we'd like next year. We've been talking about, we want to go to the beach next year. We didn't go this year.
Right.
Well, it's fun to talk about those things and plan.
Yeah. So we're taking a trip to London in London, England in March, and we're going together and things like that.
Put that on your vision board,
Yeah. No, it's interesting. Like, I love the idea of visioning because it creates hope, and it generally, even for a day, I will sometimes do a new day's resolution rather than a New Year's resolution, just because what am I going to create for that day? What's possible? It gets me to stretch, it gets me to reach out of where I'm at. But it sounds like when it comes to relationship, like, maybe I can have that, but more importantly, what am I doing right now in this moment? Right? How am I showing up right here? Right? Huh.
Yeah.
How am I loving in this moment? Yeah.
How am I doing?
I think continually asking yourself, questions that are would take you deeper in loving yourself deeper, loving the other person deeper, and going deeper in possibilities.
Creating, and what you were talking about is, how am I creating myself today? How am I creating myself in this relationship?
Yeah.
And is this what I want?
Yeah.
I want to tell a quick story that might ground something in like a very practical thing. I want to tell
let's not do that.
Yeah, let's
I'm just kidding. Go ahead. I'd love to hear it.
I want to tell a story that was from the early days of our relationship. We'd been together, I don't know, 3 or 4 years. And there was some disagreement or something, or there was just a way that Susie was seeing me. And she used to have this friend who she's still friends with all these years later. And she used to go running and walking with this friend every day. This is for many, many years. And then one day you had this thought. What was the thought?
That I was holding him to a higher standard than I did my friend. I mean, I'd give her the benefit of the doubt about things, and, wouldn't be critical and this kind of thing. And I was treating him kind of like I treated my ex.
Holy cow. Yeah, wow.
So you caught yourself.
Yeah. It was really a big insight for us.
That's eye-opening, right? Like,
yeah. Why am I treating him like I can, just say anything to him and it'll roll off his back or whatever? Why am I doing that?
Isn't that how people get in that, where they treat others or a stranger better than their loved ones? And they don't realize, and they take it for granted that person's always going to be there.
Yeah.
But those are the most important relationships.
Yes.
Yeah.
We were at
I love it.
Yeah. We were doing a communication workshop at this facility. and somebody who was working at the facility was on the phone, and she was just nasty to this person. And she realized we were standing there. She hung up and she said, "Oh, don't worry, he's my husband. I can talk to him that way."
Oh my gosh. No way.
At a communications.
Yes.
Well,
Right.
this was somebody that worked at the facility.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Oh my gosh.
And she wasn't attending the workshop.
But people
You're like, you need to be in this workshop with me.
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
people do that. And you can't do that. And
Oh my God.
Why do you think why do we do that? Why do you think we get so critical about those that are closest to us? What do you think creates that?
it's learned, and maybe from family that you
Yeah.
grew up in. There are a lot of critical families out there, and
Yeah.
they've learned it. We've learned it.
That's where you have to kind of just make sure watch how you're showing up daily and watch those things, because there's things we need to unlearn too.
Yes.
Yeah, I've got a few of those, right?
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
we all
We
do.
all do. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, the communication thing is so vital because, if something happens, or let's say, if I get reactionary and I do something that damages the relationship or causes hurt, right? I think is it Gottman's talk about petitions at repair and how important that is to repair, right? And some people
Yeah, they
might
say
say
for every one you have to do 10 repairs, something like that.
Yeah. So but to recognize when you've caused hurt or you've done something that might feel like an impact over on the other side is, don't just say, well, you deserved it or blah, 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 right?
Or I'm sorry, and then don't try to fix it, make it better, or just continue doing it.
Yeah.
Try to repair it.
Repair it.
Because sometimes you might be the lady on the phone and then she could go back and clean that up, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
repair it as a
That's really
possibility.
important. Yeah, because we all mess up. We all say things that, where did that come from?
Mm,
And like you said, we can repair.
right.
Yeah.
Huh.
Treat others as how we internally treat ourselves. It comes that way.
It's true. I heard somebody say that if we talk to others the way we talk to ourselves, it would be labeled as abuse.
Yeah.
It would be abuse.
Mhm.
And a lot of us do that.
That's true.
Yeah.
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 If there was I know we could just keep going forever. I've got a slew of questions going on, but in honor of time, is there a question that you wish you could be asked in a show? You wish somebody would just ask you this?
I guess the question I always want people to ask is, what, if you were to say, Otto, the most important thing anybody could ask, I would say is there a true secret, is there such a thing as a secret to having lasting love? And my answer to that would be, like I was talking about earlier, is you just one moment at a time, and you choose to love that person. And it starts way back when, all the fights, all the disagreements, it's choosing to show up as love. And that is the whole key, is choosing to love even when it's difficult. And that doesn't mean that, you're going to be together forever or anything like that. But you can even choose to be a stand for love, even when a relationship no longer works for you.
I heard that. I heard the answer.
The question of, how can I show up as love no matter what?
Yeah.
Boy, that would solve a lot of problems.
Well, I heard
Things
the
get
answer
pretty
was
messy with divorces.
Alzheimer's. Is that? I heard that if you just had Alzheimer's, then you love me.
I swear that's my coping mechanism. I forget things so easily. But then sometimes I'll something comes up and I'll remember the feeling, but I'm not like a list taker or or tick for tat. And so I think it's helped me, like the not saying I, have Alzheimer's, but my memory's not that great. And it helps me just to kind of forget and move on rather than compartmentalizing it and kind of building it up.
Yes.
Yes. So it's
Very definitely a short memory is really important.
But bringing love in, right?
Yeah.
I don't have a good memory. Like I don't keep score either.
Yeah,
like
he's
there's
Yeah.
no point,
That's
like
very
why?
harmful.
Yeah. But to bring love in,
Yeah.
if somebody asks that, what's the secret? I've heard people say like, I just don't take anything serious, or, we joke around a lot, or we let it slide off. We never hold on to it. We never go to bed angry. They talk it through. There's all these answers. It's like, I think in the Bible, they talk about what is love. And it's like, there's 50 answers to it, right? It's kind of like that is what is the secret? It's whatever brings love into it is such a beautiful answer. Right?
Hug it out.
Hug it out.
And there's no one way to have a great relationship.
Right.
You get to choose.
I love these comments.
No, I do too. I love these comments.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool to bring them up online while we're going through.
Yeah, it really is. It's very nice.
Yeah. Just one final thought around that is, as I was listening to a lady that she had a near-death experience. She talked about her experience that, she was taught that, thoughts have an energy and words have a bigger energy and actions have a bigger energy than all of them. Right. And she got to see that whatever she put out into the universe, and I wrote a little post about this, would not only attach to the person she thought about, spoke about, acted about, but it would also attach to her. And if you look at the laws of thermodynamics, they say that superposition can occur and atoms can exist in two places at once. And so all these things that we're throwing out there on other people are actually also attaching to us. And so when we throw hate at our partner, we're throwing hate at ourselves. And I think if any of us had to experience all the pain that we put on other people, we probably wouldn't put much pain out there. Right. But since we don't feel that directly, we kind of dish it out pretty easily and, effortlessly. But every thought, every word, every action has an impact, not on them only, but on us too. And so that's where your statement really comes in, is if you're dishing out love, that is also sticking to you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
And what about the idea that two people can be right at the same time?
Yeah. And have different views, right? Yeah. That's powerful because it's true. Like Andy can have a truth and I can have a truth, and we both have a truth, and they're different truths, totally different. Yeah. What do you define as being successful in relationship? And what would you both say is your biggest success together within your relationship? I think we hit on the successful relationship with the love thing. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. And I think that
I
my
like that.
biggest success is learning to love.
Love them where they're at.
Yeah. Just learning more about love. I didn't know before Otto, I didn't know what love was really.
Huh.
And just learning every day deeper and deeper about loving myself and loving him and loving
I like
other
that.
people.
Do a factory reset, right?
Yeah.
And there's there's really something to be said, I think, about loving yourself and loving other people when it's not convenient and when you're in a difficult moment. I was in a situation a couple of days ago where there was a woman that I was in an interaction with, and she was upsetting. She was upset. She was trying to get some things accomplished, and she was downright belligerent and mean to everybody around her. I was trying to help this woman, and I just had this little voice, this little, nudge from within to not try to change her, to not try to show her how, she could be more kind. She could be more loving. I didn't do any of that. And as it turned out, this woman just had so much fear within her in her life. And I just had this voice just continue to say to me, just be there and just show up as love. Just show up as love. And as it turned out, this woman was completely out of money. I gave her a little bit of money just so that she could get back to her hotel where she was staying, and so she could buy a sandwich or something to eat. But to me, there was a point in this interaction with this woman when I could have chosen to look at her like, oh, this woman's crazy. This woman's lost her mind. I don't want to love her. I don't want to, stay there and hear all this nonsense. But there was a deeper voice within that kept suggesting to me that I love her anyway.
Wow.
And if we do that, not just with strangers, but with the people we love the most.
Yeah.
If we just continue to love them anyway.
Even when it's not convenient, as you said.
Yeah. Even when it's not convenient and even when it's hard.
She just needed a Snickers bar.
She definitely did. She definitely did.
She was a little hangry. Yeah, that's funny. Guys, thank you so much for being on with this. I feel like we could just keep going, and maybe we'll do this again. Like, this was beautiful. Our vision here is, just share our journey as we go, because we're navigating it just like everybody else. And it doesn't matter if they're together 26 years or 6 months or just barely started dating. The process seems to be the same. Start with love, loving yourself first, and then let that be an expression into loving the other person. And then just take it moment by moment, moment by moment as a creation. I think that's pretty sound wisdom.
Yeah.
Right there.
For everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Do you have any final thoughts?
No, I just really enjoyed this. And down the road, I'd like to do it again with you too. You guys are awesome.
You guys are
Thank
beautiful.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for being on with us. For those that are watching, we won't have a show this next week, but the following we will. So I think the 28th. And we have Amanda Monk coming on to join us. And you guys have a Merry Christmas. Yep. And all the holidays, right? I'm going to check the comments real quick. So everybody's saying thank you for the aha moments. And big fan of all of you. My new love language. I love it. You guys make it a great evening. Thank you for being on with us. And for the rest of you, we'll see you on our next show. Have a great night.